In our previous episode, we learned about Rune Midgard's founding of the nation myth with the help of author and historian Koromov of the Ragnarok Historical Research Group at the Guthfen Library. With the help of the other priests at the Pantera Cathedral, we unlocked Bonnie's memory hidden within the red gemstone, and from it, we found out that her failed exorcism subject was the third Geoberg prince, who was not cursed, but poisoned. Father Banff repeatedly gave us the brush off and advised us not to further involve ourselves in that incident. While away on a monster-grinding trip to the sunken ship, we receive a correspondence from Father Banff. It reads, "I sincerely apologize, adventurer. Our last meeting didn't go well. I've thought about it for a long while, and I decided to tell you the truth I know. Please see me at the church. This is highly sensitive, so please keep it a secret at all times. Banff." Happy to finally leave those stinking pirate skeletons, and relieved that the old clergyman has calmed down a little and changed his mind, we hurry back to Pantera. Arriving at the cathedral, we are greeted by an apologetic Banff. "Bun, I knew you weren't a petty person. I was too rash last time. Afterward, I thought about it for a long time. This is a matter of grave importance, so I've decided to tell you everything I know in order for us to investigate it together. We can choose to either not forgive him and show him that we can actually be pretty petty, or we can forgive him so we can proceed with the investigations. And when we do, he looks relieved." Good. You can see the bigger picture. Lucy's death was regrettable. How do you think she died? I'm sure you've reached a conclusion by now. Here, we have two options. We can either be as dumb as a Stapo and say that Lucy's death was an accident, or that it was because she offended the White Masks. If we choose the latter, the man of the cloth agrees. Very likely. I don't know if you remember, but she told you to deliver a letter to me. In the letter, she said that she had found out what I had asked her to, and would tell me about it the next day in person. I asked her to investigate the White Masks showing up in the city. And, if you remember, there was a White Mask with the letter she gave you, but it was lost along the way. So the White Masks are deeply involved in this. What Banff has just told us are all from the events of the first chapter. Now we understand why Lucy decided to include the White Mask that we had found on the body of the mysterious leader of the group of men who had attacked our Assassin Cross friend. It was most probably proof that she had investigated the White Masks, as well as a clue to her death. When Lucy was attacked, she likely thought that her death would come soon after. So she had to let Banff know that she would die at the hands of the White Masks. The two options here are Lucy found out the White Mask's secret, or Lucy took something that belonged to the White Masks. Both seem possible, since if she found out their secret, she might have taken it to give to Banff as evidence. When choosing the latter, Banff disagrees. Not impossible, but I think it's more likely that she found out the truth behind the matter I had told her to investigate. She was a bright child. I didn't want to tell her too much because I feared for her safety. What truth? We ask. It's a long story, but you must have already realized that this has to do with a royal secret, the death of the third prince. I'll now tell you a shocking secret about the Rune Midgard's royal family. You must swear to keep it a secret. I don't know how many more times you'll say the word secret, Banff, but I swear. Good. Come with me. We should talk somewhere more private. We follow Father Banff and he leads us to a shut door on the west side of the cathedral. What hides behind this wall? Actually, Pantera Cathedral hides a forbidden royal secret. Take this resonant stone and open the secret chamber. We take the stone from his hands and a portal opens. The clergyman asks us to follow him into the other side. And we arrive at a secret room. Banff tells us that this is called the Room of Peace, and we can see 3 bodies laid on the ground. What is this place? Bun, you must be the first commoner to step into this place. You must face what comes next with reverence. The spirits of the ancestors are watching. Where are we? We curiously inquire. Banff replies with, "This is one of the Rune Midgard's royal family's Chamber of Lament. The bodies of the cursed Geoburg princes are laid to rest here. There are many such chambers built by master craftsmen underneath the cathedral. The bells and clergy of Pantera Cathedral are a requiem for these poor princes. None of them lived past their 23rd birthday." What a grim secret! The Pantera Cathedral is no ordinary church. It is also a cemetery for the Geoburg princes that had died from Jormungand's curse. But we notice something. There should only be one Geoburg prince in this room, right? Since only the firstborn son of every generation is afflicted by the curse. We thought that the founding myth was just a myth, but the royal curse is real? You must have heard of it. Tristan Geoburg I's bloodline was cursed for slaying Jormungand. The firstborn son of all who bears Tristan I's blood will be afflicted by nightmares, covered in scales, and finally die before their 23rd birthday. They must have all suffocated to death in terrifying dreamscapes. Just like what Koromov told us. That is absolutely horrible, but what does this have to do with Lucy's death? It's a long story. Do you remember what I just said about the royal curse? The firstborn son of Tristan I will die young, right? Yes. The eldest son of every generation of the Geoburg family will succumb to the curse. But when it came to Tristan Geoburg III, 3 princes died of the curse. We can take a wild guess and say, the curse worsened? Or make a more logical choice by either saying, that's not how the curse should work, or someone is behind it. If we choose the last option, he says, you can keep your views to yourself for now. This is the truth I wanted to tell you. As your eyes can see, the bodies of the 3 princes who fell to the curse are right here. You can inspect them yourself. That's right. As aspiring detectives, we shouldn't hypothesize before we actually get the facts, so our judgment would not be clouded. Before you begin, Banff continues, speak to the secret acolyte over there for a simple purification ritual, so you do not disturb the princess's rest. Got it! We approach the secret acolyte Ravis, who greets us with, the princess's bodies are inviolable. Protecting them is my duty. It was the 7 kings who killed the demon snake Jormungand together. Why did the curse only fall on the Geoburg line? Isn't it unjust? We can be insensitive but poetic and say, the crown is a heavy burden, or show our respect for the princess by agreeing with her. And when we do, she says, adventure, I can sense your reverence. You may inspect the bodies, but please bow to them to pay respect to the ancestral spirit watching over this place. Before you touch the princess's bodies, I will cast a purification spell to cleanse your body. Please do not overstep your boundaries. The ancestral spirits are watching. And we thank Acolyte Ravis. We step to the center of the room and bow to show our respects. Ravis tells us that she has purified our body, so we can now examine the princess. We start with the firstborn of King Tristan Geoburg III. We look at his lower arm and see a clear serpent sigil wrapped around it. We move on to the second prince, who we notice also has a serpent sigil on the skin of his left arm, but not quite as clear as the one we found on the first prince. Lastly, we examine the third prince's body and find that the sigil around his arm is even less clear and the pattern looks irregular. We walk back to Banff to tell him about our discovery.
Bun, you must have realized something. You've already intuited that the third prince didn't die because Bonnie made a mistake. What do you think is the cause of death?
Here, we have 3 options. We can be deaf as heck and say, it's a curse. Or we can either choose between poison and assassination. Since the third prince was not struck by a sword, nor did we find any arrows lodged in his body, we choose the second option.
Very likely,
Banff exclaims.
Based on the founding of the nation myth, only the eldest prince will receive the curse. Furthermore, the scales on the second and third princes are very mild. I've read the journal among the first prince's remains. It often mentions nightmares about serpents and a strange suffocating feeling. This proves that the first prince died because of the curse. But the curse hasn't changed for 1,000 years, so we can assume that the third prince didn't die of the curse. However, do you have any proof that the third prince died of poison?
We can recall what we had read from the book The Royal Part of Exorcism Prayer, that if an exorcism is performed on someone without curse, whatever negative status such as disease, illness, or poison the subject is afflicted with will rapidly worsen and will be the cause of their sudden death. So we say, Bonnie's exorcism failed.
Most people believe that the exorcism failed because Bonnie made a mistake during the rite. So, I'd like to ask you, how are you so sure that Bonnie didn't make a mistake?
We tell him that we watched her memory crystal. Father Banff furrows his brows.
Memory crystal? You don't mean the damaged red gemstone. I'm a fool. Heavens, everything's so clear now. Bonnie was the only one allowed to participate in that rite. Looks like it was a setup.
But wasn't Banff the one who recommended Bonnie to lead the rite? Who set Bonnie up?
The man of the cloth looks quite troubled. Good heavens. In that case, the prince was definitely murdered. Let us assume that the prince was indeed poisoned. Who do you think was the culprit?
The last option here is someone in the royal family, which is very unlikely for 2 reasons. He wasn't the firstborn prince, and even if he were, Rune Midgard's isn't a hereditary monarchy. I'd imagine this option to be true if he were the eldest son and if the kingdom were a hereditary monarchy and the other princes wanted the throne. Instead, we can choose between the white masks and a poison expert. Since the former seem to be behind many of the unpleasant events in the kingdom recently, I chose this option. Banff replies with,
To be honest, that was why I asked you to investigate the white masks. They are definitely involved somehow, but I'm more suspicious of the Assassin Guild. Every one of them is a poison expert.
The Assassin Guild?
The Assassin Guild is a secret organization in Morocco that specializes in intelligence gathering and assassinations. They are true masters of poison. And where Lucy died happened to be a secret base of the Assassin Guild. Isn't it too coincidental?
I guess so. But Lucy herself is a member of that very same guild. Would they kill their own?
Banff continues. I have other reasons for suspecting them, which brings me to my second reason for calling you here. Follow me.
And we walk behind the old priest once again. He leads us to 3 familiar shards floating close to the ground on the eastern side of the cathedral.
Bun, do you remember this?
Banff asks. Lucy's spirit piece? The man of the cloth nods.
Correct. Soon after you left, my magic recovered somewhat, so I tried to unseal the second soul piece. It'll be a revelation to you. Go ahead and watch it.
We interact with the shard and see that moment when Lucy gave us 2 letters,
one marked to B and the other to K. Right. Whatever happened to that second letter? Did it fall out of our bag when the members of the Z gang were rummaging through our stuff? Did Lucy actually not give us the letter and send it to its intended recipient herself before she died? We return to Banff, who asks us, "Have you thought of something?" "When Lucy gave me the letter?" "You're right. It should have been at that moment because the letter marked to B is for me. Look, there's clearly another letter marked to K." "Who is it for?" "I had my assistant look into it. There is only one person in the Assassin Guild whose name starts with K and is on good terms with Lucy. That letter may be with him." "Who is it?" "Kid, a powerful member of the Assassin Guild. If the third prince died of poison and Lucy wrote a letter to Kid, that means we should be able to learn a lot from him, even if it wasn't the Assassin Guild that did it. But Kid's whereabouts are a mystery." "If only we could find him," we say. The priest's face brightens up and he smiles. "But I've found a lead recently. He was spotted in his loot. So if you're interested..." "I'll go now," we excitedly volunteer. "Wonderful. Be careful not to alert him. Use Lucy's name and try to find out more. But do not mention the royal family." "Got it." Yay! Another lead, another day full of adventure. We safely arrive in Islud, the satellite town of Frontera, through the tried and tested Kappa teleportation service. Just outside the gates to the Islud arena, where we challenge the brave fighter, we find a purple-haired thief who looks quite frustrated. "Ugh, what bad luck. All the money I earned from that job has gone into it." Tch. "Who are you and why are you following me?" "You seem unhappy," we say. "It's that idiot's fault for breaking his leg when drunk. Looks like his 10-match winning streak exhausted all of his luck. I was hoping to make it rich betting on a black horse, but that's impossible now. Damn it, when will I be able to stop worrying about Zenny?" We can get straight to the point and say, "I came because of Lucy." And his expression changes. "Lucy? She died in a fire. I'm afraid you won't be able to find her." "She wrote you a letter." "How did you know that? Who are you?" "I'm investigating her death." "Seriously?" Looks like that girl had some friends. I was one of them myself, but I have my own troubles and no time for your questions." "What is going on?" we inquire. "I bet almost all my Zenny on an arena match, but the gladiator I bet on was wounded, whether by coincidence or by design. He hasn't come yet and I fear he's going to forfeit." "Unless..." The thief's eyes brighten. "Unless you're willing to take part in the match as his substitute. If you defeat the opponent, I'll tell you what I know." Looks like this guy has a gambling problem, but we have to help him if we want to get some valuable intel. "You trust me? I'm a complete stranger." The match is about to begin. I can't participate since I've already placed a bet. It's better than losing everything. If you win, I'll tell you something you may find very interesting." But what if we lose? We won't get anything? I guess today's theme is leaving it all up to Lady Luck. Can someone cast Gloria so we can be lucky enough to win this match? Right across Kid, we find the Underground Bazaar stage manager, which I think may be a typo and should probably be the Islud Arena stage manager, but that's just me. When we approach her, she asks, "Are you the missing gladiator?" "It's not you, is it?" Doesn't matter. Get out there. The audience is getting impatient." And we start a 3 versus 3 arena match. We get teleported to the same map for the guild match event, and we see 2 other fighters on either side. An acolyte named Shemi and a swordsman called Kane.
Our objective is to defeat all the members of the enemy team comprising a thief, a mage, and a merchant. And it's a piece of cake. We won! We cheerfully run back to Kid, who is already celebrating. I've made it rich! Your strength far surpassed my expectations. I will keep my word. Lucy did give me a letter at that time, but the letter wasn't for me. Within it was another letter, which I was to deliver to a certain Marjana. Who is Marjana? We ask. Being a professional, I did not open the letter. All I can tell you is it wasn't a mere letter. From its weight, I could tell that there was something else in the envelope. Yeah, okay, sounds interesting, but who is Marjana? Ever since Lucy's obituary reached the Assassin Guild, Marjana has been waiting for a person chasing this lead. She should be at an underground pub in Marok, but probably not for long. You should head to Marok as soon as possible with my keepsake, or you'll encounter unnecessary trouble. Kid hands us his keepsake and off we go to Marok. But we still don't know who we're looking for except for her name. At least we know where we can find her. Arriving at the desert city of Marok, we go near the pub and notice that there's a guard standing in front. We take our time to plan our next move and to see if that guard will leave his post so we could enter, but he doesn't move. We decide to risk it and just approach him. Kid, you've been loitering here all day. You can't just enter as you please. Get lost if you don't want a broken nose. We show him Kid's keepsake and we notice a change in his tone. Kid's keepsake? Very well. You're a new face. Go on in. But remember to be more respectful in there or you won't leave this bar alive. Is that a threat? Is this underground pub a hangout for members of the Assassin Guild? We cautiously enter the pub and see a man with red hair standing behind the bar. He seems well-mannered, so we decide to ask him. Hey, newcomer, need a drink? We strike up the courage and say, I'm looking for Marjana. Hey, Ether! Someone's looking for the boss. And we see a displeased Lord Knight coming our way. Oops, are we in trouble?
Hey, newcomer! Need a drink?
Well, legends say there's an outstanding assassin named Marjana?
Hey, Ether! Someone's looking for the boss!
Who are you? What do you want from our boss? She's a person too important for you to see.
Bar fight!
Take this!
That's enough! Stop!
Ouch! We just got thrown at the wall. Was that Marjana? And from what the bartender and that arrogant Lord Knight said, she's the leader of the Assassin Guild? We decide to follow her into the room she entered. The blonde assassin Cross introduces herself. I am Marjana. I apologize for the trouble that idiot caused. So, why are you looking for me? You have 5 minutes to explain yourself. We remember that Banff told us not to mention the royal curse to anyone, so we instead choose to ask about Lucy. Lucy? I was very close to her. I grieve deeply for her death. From what I know of her, she wasn't someone who would die in a mere fire. My instinct tells me that she died because of a secret mission she couldn't tell me about because of her professionalism. Not long ago, she had Kid pass me a letter. If you want to know its contents, you must first tell me what the secret mission that led to Lucy's death was. We can either tell her about the royal curse or don't. I chose the latter since I wanted to keep my word to Banff and because I don't want to reveal anything to a complete stranger. But this seemed to be the wrong option. You're a dishonest one, Kid. I more or less know that it's got something to do with the royal family. You haven't come just because of Lucy, right? But fear not.
The Assassin Guild will not stand against the royal family for now. I've guessed the cost of all this. Rue died because she was close to the truth behind this massive conspiracy.
Who's Rue? Is it Lucy's nom de guerre? Her nickname in the Assassin Guild? Tell me about the letter. And Marjana replies with,
To tell the truth, Lucy asked Kid to bring me a herb which can produce a special poison. She wanted me to extract the poison from the herb and concoct an antidote. She said in the letter that she would come to retrieve the recipe for the antidote soon, but no one expected that she would lose her life so soon. And my investigations have shown that she was dragged into the case of the third prince's death. The case implicates several officials, and it is said even the best exorcist of a great exorcist family lost her position. That is why I did not wish to act rashly.
So, Marjana has learned about that incident from her investigations. Tell me about the herb, we say.
The herb is called Oldenlande diffusa, and it grows on a nameless island in Arunafeld's territory. The poison it contains is lethal, causing scales to grow all over the victim's body. Terrifying, isn't it?
In Ragnarok Online, during the Nameless Island Dungeon Access quest, which is directly connected to the Curse of Gaibolg quest, we find several dead crows around a plot of land in the day version of the map. Scales are visible on their skin, and they all seem to have died after munching on a poisonous herb that only grows on the Nameless Island. Marjana continues.
The strange thing about this poison is that it cannot be metabolized by the human body unless the body is burned or decomposed. Otherwise, its symptoms will continue to manifest on the victim's body and grow clearer over time. That's all I know. Do you have any other questions?
We can either suspect the Assassin Guild of poisoning the prince, or ask her, what proof do you have? Her eyes narrow.
Watch your tongue, kid. I don't like the question, so I won't answer it. First, answer me this. What is your relationship to Lucy? Why are you investigating this?
Here, we have 3 options. To earn a reward, for justice, or to say that Lucy was our friend. Going with the first choice, Marjana sounds pleased with our answer.
Good. Lucy was a good friend of mine too. She wished deeply to uncover the truth behind all this. I should make one thing clear. We have a secret contract with the royal family. It's a sensitive matter, but we would never hurt them. Furthermore, the Assassin Guild would never do something that would damage its reputation like that. This matter involves the royal family, so it is hard for the Assassin Guild to intervene. But I can assist you on a personal basis. I have a potion that assassins use to test for poison. If poison is detected, the potion will react to it strongly. Just try it and you'll understand.
Where can I buy it? We ask.
First, you'll need pure water and an empty bottle. Once you have them, take them to the Mad Alchemist in Sograt Desert. Mention my name, and he will help you.
All right, time to collect some basic items. We head out of the pub and into the center of the map where a fountain is located. Afterwards, we go east and approach one of the tents where we find a special storage, which isn't special at all since it's just some sort of an empty bottle. Heading east out of the blazing desert, we find an alchemist holding a bottle of potion who seems to be occupied.
Where can I get more garlands? I guess I'll ask the assassins. Oh! Who are you?
We respond with, Marjana told me to find you. I don't know what she's up to, but if she told you to find me, that means she thinks highly of my skills. I need you to help me make a potion. Let me see. No one's asked for this in a long time, so I'll need fresh ingredients. 2 more ingredients are necessary to create a poison testing potion. 2 ingredients? The Nero acid and Pierre crystal. Sograt Desert should have both these monsters. Oh? Did she recommend me because I was close to them? Oh well, no point thinking about it. Defeat the Neros and Pierres and bring me the acid and crystals, and I'll be able to make the poison testing potion. Great. More item gathering. After getting 8 pieces of the Nero acid and 8 pieces of Pierre crystal, we head back to the alchemist to get this done and over with. I made all the necessary preparations while you were gone. Let me just mix the ingredients you've collected. I need to throw in a yellow gemstone as a catalyst for this to work. Done. The Gilded Mimir Spring, a poison testing potion used exclusively by Morok's Assassin Guild. Homemade by yours truly. Take it. We impatiently take the potion and, without even thanking the guy, hurry off to the Printera Cathedral. We figure that Banff will be waiting for us inside the Room of Peace, so we enter its portal.
So, any progress with regards to the antidote?
He's never talked about wanting an antidote since he only sent us to get intel from Kid. But anyway, we tell him what happened.
So, you met the expert assassin Marjana. What she says carries some weight. However, you cannot yet let down your guard with the assassins. Regardless, let us first test the princess for poison.
We use the testing agent on the first prince, but we find no effect. When tested on the second prince, the serpent sigil reacts strongly, and we conclude that he died of the Arunafots's poison. Finally, we use it on the third prince, and we notice that the serpent sigil has also vanished. We turn our gaze to Banff, who is visibly surprised.
Heavens! If there's nothing wrong with the potion, then the second and third princes were indeed killed by poison. But who is behind it?
Since the poisonous herb came from Arunafots, it is most probably someone from there, right? Banff wrinkles his forehead.
Thinking about it carefully, Arunafots is a secluded country with less than a century of relations with our country. If they showed up openly in large numbers, it would be taken as a provocation. Unless...
The white masks are from Arunafots.
Heavens! Though I dare not believe it, based on Lucy's and your investigations, Bonnie did witness many white masks before the exorcism. But the Arunafots people cannot get close to the princess. Unless, and this is the scary part, besides the princess being poisoned, there are rotten roots hidden below the huge tree of ruined Midgards.
What should we do next?
It will be hard for us to eradicate this root in the short term. We must report this to King Tristan III at once. We must arrest all the Arunafots heretics and ruined Midgards. This is the only way we can seize hold of the corrupted root right now. I will handle this at once. While you were gone, I managed to unseal Lucy's final spirit piece. It may have something to do with the culprit.
Well, go try it out now. We follow Father Banff out of the room and into the main hall of the cathedral, where Lucy's spirit pieces are kept.
The piece is here. Just touch it to view Lucy's memory.
And when we do, we see... the White Witch! We see her surrounded by flames. This must have been during the fire at the underground bazaar. We turn our attention to the old clergyman.
This should be the last thing Lucy saw before she died. The faint silhouette of a white-robed witch.
She's holding something. He replies with,
"Ah, you're very observant. It looks like a box? Maybe she took something from the scene of the fire, but... More importantly, do you recall anything when you see this white-robed witch?"
She took the white mask from me.
You're saying that she was the one who took the white mask Lucy told you to deliver? Did she say anything at the time?
She called me impetuous.
Why do I feel irritable?
She actually didn't, but let's go with it. And like Saren, Banff has the same theory.
Perhaps she thought you were her ally. so she took the mask to prevent you from getting into trouble. So, it is likely that she's sort of a leader among the white masks. Right, Lucy's autopsy has been released. She wasn't burned to death.
We take the autopsy report from the priest and find that Lucy did not actually die in the fire, but died from wounds inflicted by a sharp blade. Did the White Witch attack her? We notice that Banff has walked back to his usual spot, so we run back to him. And we hear his voice for the first time.
The 7 royal families still haven't realized the real danger hidden behind the anomalies.
This is a church, no running around.
It seems that we've unlocked our first side quest, which we will be tackling in another video. For now, let's continue with our story quest.
Lucy's wounds are extremely subtle,
says Banff.
Does that make you think of anything? Maybe she was killed by an extremely sharp weapon.
We remember that when the White Witch took the white mask that had dropped from our bag, she used wind magic to do so. And we tell Father Banff about this.
Then, let us see. Firstly, Bonnie had encountered the white masks from her Runefelds. Then, the prince did not die because the exorcism failed, but because he was poisoned. Later on, suspecting something strange, I sent Lucy to investigate the white masks, but she lost her life in the fire. My guess is that Lucy died of the fine wounds she received before she reached the scene of the fire. It is likely the doing of the White Witch's wind magic, and the White Witch's motive was to silence Lucy, as she had guessed that they had poisoned the third prince.
All the clues point to the White Witch.
But we should be careful not to alarm the White Witch. After all, this concerns the diplomatic relations between the two countries, and we still don't know if there's a spy in the royal family. We must gather enough evidence and report directly to King Tristan III. But tread slowly,
warns the old priest,
so you don't attract the white mask's attention and end up the way of Lucy. I will contact you if there are new developments.
And the screen fades to black.
The truth of the royal family curse is finally revealed. The 2 princes died of poison. The missing adventures, the underground market fire, and the princess's poison murder case all point toward the Runefelds. Rune's suppressed desire for vengeance is now burning. Chapter 5: The Royal Curse. As we learn more and more about the interwoven events in Rune Midgards, we feel like we are left with more questions at every turn. What is the White Mask's motive in poisoning the last 2 princes of the Geoberg family? To cause chaos in the kingdom? Did they have bad blood with the royal family? And what was the White Witch holding in Lucy's memory fragment? Something she had taken from Lucy, perhaps? We'll find out more in the next episode of our Ragnarok Origin main story lore series. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification below to get the latest Ragnarok Origin videos. Leave your thoughts in the comments section. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching, and see you on the next one.